A lot of boxing last night, boys.
Oh yeah, where do we start?
I don't even know.
Start with AB or where we starting?
Let's start with you were there. You were in the bubble.
Yeah.
How do you keep getting in the bubble?
I don't know. It might be that white privilege he's talking about. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Hey, him and Lopez stay in the bubble. Lopez always in the bubble too.
Does Teofimo? He has like a standing room at the MGM or something.
Hey, he was hyped, man. Him and his dad. Oh my God, they're just like his dad. When Burchell got up from the knockdowns, he's like, "Yo, Poppy, he gotta knock him off right now. We gotta end him in the next round or two, or he gonna come back." And
I thought the comeback was coming too. I thought it was happening.
What held it off was the same thing that got him in control to start the fight, was that jab.
Mm-hmm.
He slowed him back down with that jab. And
good feet though. Valdez got good feet.
The impressive was like he found a way to keep fighting off the back foot and planting at just the right moment to really get that oomph on the jab to stop Berchelt in his tracks. So, I mean, a lot of people, you got an underrated jab, Shawn, so you would know, right? What Valdez was doing in there just right.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people, it's like 50-50. You either like the commentating or you mute the TV because you don't like the commentating. I think now I'm at the point where I'm beyond being a fan of Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley enough to just listen to them and, either receive what's being said or, be like, I don't know about that one. I mean, both guys were all the way on point. Timothy Bradley and Andre Ward both were all the way on point with all of their critiques and commentary about Valdez and Burchell. I thought they did an amazing job. One thing that really stuck out to me, because I know personally, there are people personally who text me while Timothy Bradley is commentating, and shout out to Timothy Bradley. That's my guy. But they'll text me and just be like, "Yo, why don't he just shut up? Why don't you go take his job?" So on and so forth. And I'm like, let the man work. I'm like, y'all don't know, but he knows what he's talking about. He calls it. He says, Valdez, the uppercut is going to be the punch for Valdez. And so I waited. I was like, I wonder who caught that, and I wonder how long it's going to take for this uppercut to land for somebody to say, "Oh man, Timothy Bradley called it out." I think maybe 3 rounds later, uppercut comes, was picture perfect, and I'm like, there it is right there. If you got a problem with Timothy Bradley, he called the uppercut. It just came a few rounds later. But I think both guys, they've been doing a terrific job. And I think last night, both of them were spot on.
As somebody who is not a Timothy Bradley commentary fan,
yeah,
I think both can be true, where he definitely knows his stuff and knows a million times more about boxing than I ever will. But my issue is he goes too far to be right sometimes, where he'll go back to the Teofimo Lomachenko fight. He said, "Oh yeah, there's no way he can do this," and then like a round later he does it, and it's like, okay, he goes to an extreme where then he wants to get the prediction right, where he'll be like, "There's just no way," and then he's wrong. It's like, you didn't have to say it to that extreme. You could have just said, "Yeah, it's gonna be tough for him to do this," but he makes it like it's impossible for this to happen. Then it happens, and you're like, okay, did you need to paint yourself into that corner? But he clearly knows boxing. I think sometimes he just does, as they say, a little too much. He's doing a little too much for me personally. I'm more of an Andre Ward guy.
Yeah,
I love both of them. I think together with Mark Kriegel as well, they're the best commentary team in boxing right now. And he mentioned the left uppercut. I gotta I guess brag for a second. I called the left hook by Valdez because Burchell, what people didn't mention enough was he doesn't punch tight and close. Everything he throws it all, no matter what your distance is at, the punches come out the same way from him. So, Valdez took advantage of that, and he got in real close inside of Burchell where he likes to throw his shots at, and he got in the left hook. And that was probably like one of the, maybe, you don't want to just say like top 10 or top whatever, but that was the top tier. That was that top tier level performance by Oscar Valdez, one that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
So what Maidana did to Paul for.
How old is Valdez?
30.
30.
Okay, he's not as young as I thought he was.
He looks very young. I thought the same thing yesterday. I was like, man, he looks really young. But no, I didn't see that coming.
And when the fight first started, I'm like, why is he so damn stiff? Like, he felt like he was just so stiff.
Or
Valdez,
you thought he was stiff?
Yeah, I felt like he was stiff and was throwing haymakers. I felt like he was hyped up.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, but he just kept that momentum. Yeah. It never went nowhere.
I'm not sure if I can think of off the top of my head somebody being as stunned or rocked as Berchelt was. Was it the 4th round where he gets hit with the shot and I'm like, okay, he's going down.
Right,
and then he completely stumbles back and I'm like, okay, he's going to just fall back into the ropes and either go down or gather himself. And then he get hit with another shot and it reset and he did the same thing again. And I'm like, he couldn't like get his feet back under him. And I don't know how the hell he stayed up.
It was just like all boxers training and everything just showed up in that moment.
Yeah,
he was working off instincts. Body was just on auto mode.
I was thinking like angels in the outfield. Like I think they were sitting there hold them up because he's like wobbling side. I'm like, dude, there's no way he's gonna stay on his feet.
He was not in. I started worrying about I was just worried about. I'm like, come on, ref, man, look at him, check him out.
Yeah.
I know Shawn don't want to go there, but
oh man, no, we got to go there because it's so hard for me to watch a guy look like that, but understand that the fight's not over until what happens, because it's boxing. Anything can happen. You can see that was the 4th round. He turns things around. I think 2 rounds later, and starts bringing it back to Valdez. Yeah. And now, of course, I sit back and I'm like, damn, if I was the ref, I probably would have stopped it right there.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And it's like you can't stop it right there. But then when the big, what was that, like an overhand left? What was that? Was it a hook? Or overhand left? Yeah.
The left hook.
It was the left hook. Yeah.
Detonation.
When that happens, it's like it kind of rewinds you all the way back to that 4th round. And it's like that was what was supposed to happen based on what you saw in the 4th round, So it's like it's a double-edged sword because you could stop a fight too soon and you deny a lot of boxing fans and people in general their entertainment, or you can go as far as it went and something really bad can happen, So I was looking at it, I was like, dang, like I was literally watching him in the 4th round. I'm like, the ref has to see his feet, has to see his legs, and understands that he shouldn't be fighting anymore, but then he turns the fight around.
It's such an impossible balance because it's not cut and dry. Like he could be completely rocked, or it could have just been something where it kind of caught him off and he was off for a minute. But it's tough.
He's out.
It's tough because as a person, you want to err on the side of okay, if it's close, just call it off. Who cares? Don't be a hero. Don't let him hurt himself severely. But then obviously, boxing fans, they want to see. I was just recently thinking about, you mentioned Timothy Bradley and Provatnikov.
Yeah.
Those guys were like both unconscious, just throwing like 1,000 punches at each other. And it's like, should that have been stopped? Yeah. Probably at some point, sure. But,
for our entertainment, in that moment, it was like, yo, you couldn't stop that. And then last night, it's like you just couldn't stop it. And then you see Burchell just show everything, in terms of being a warrior, and he starts coming back on Valdez. And of course, at that point in time, I thought Valdez was a little younger than 30. Mm-hmm. I said, oh man, I don't think he's got what it takes to make it through this fire. But he continued to move, even though the fire was coming on him. He continued to move and stay composed to a degree. And then, X amount of rounds later was a wrap.
He didn't.
And the hook, man, like that dude has a hook.
He always has.
He's just gonna throw the hook.
And Burchell, I'm not sure if he dodged a single left hook the entire fight.
Yeah.
Defense is terrible.
He hit his glove.
His defense is terrible.
Yeah.
Burchell.
Yeah, that was a really, really impressive, surprising, great performance from Valdez.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I made a little bet with him and Santiago.
You did?
Yeah. But you know me, I'm trying to cash out. Yeah, I seen something else. I was like, he could lose, just like I felt like AB can lose. But let's continue.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do your thing, Shawn.
No, he put it all together. Those things with everything he's worked on with Reynoso, where for a couple of fights it didn't look good because he's struggling. He struggled with his identity. He's trying to work on his boxing skills, but what's always been best is that left hook and getting in there and fighting. But this was the fight where he put it all together with Reynoso, and so he kind of had to withstand something that's tough to go through, where you're only as good as your last fight. Where maybe he could have knocked out a Jason Velez quicker than 10 rounds if he had just fought like he did the first 23 or 4 fights of his career, but he used those fights against lesser opposition to work on things. And last night is when it finally paid off, where he put together fighting off the back foot with what he was always good at, which is just getting in there and letting the big left hook go. So, props to Reynoso, props to Oscar for not panicking once Burchell started coming on, not just getting suckered into that brawl. I got to hit this dude with something hard because he's coming and I'm tired. I can't keep him off. And he slowed him back down. It was just a great performance. So
hard to do, especially like you said, when you're struggling with your identity, it's hard in those moments to basically kind of ignore like who you are and what you want to do. I think Reynoso and Oscar understanding that Berchelt's heavy-handed, like you can't stand in there and take a pounding because it's gonna wear you down and catch up with you.
Not all night.
Yeah, and he stayed composed.
Back up all night, but you can't.
And there were a couple of moments where I was like, okay, yeah, he's about to fight Berchelt's fight. But it's like he remained composed even in moments where to the naked eye he's losing right there, and and Berchelt's coming on. And I think he stayed composed in his mind enough to know, like, hey, I got to let this one go. And then once he just starts winging that left hook, his identity, he knows that he knew when it was time. He knew when it was time. Don't tell me you didn't enjoy what you saw, because I know you did. What you need to do now, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit that notification button. Check us out every week, every Tuesday, something new for you right here on the Porter Way Podcast.